Overwatch 2 Roadhog Rework Guide. So I've had a long break from Overwatch 2 and they've reworked Roadhog in that time. So I'm a diehard Roadhog fan. I've been playing him since he was ridiculously OP on day one of Overwatch. Like, he's just always been a one-shot, unkillable machine, and they've had trouble balancing him because he's so strong. It's like, my philosophy for most of Overwatch 1 was, why pick a DPS when Roadhog can one-hit everything and he's a tank? And I think a lot of people felt this way about him. He was always like just ridiculously strong or a bit of an ult feed. Whereas with all of these changes now, he definitely feels more like a tank rather than like a solo killing tanky DPS. So do I think it's better for the game? Yeah. Is it as fun? Maybe. I'm really enjoying the left click because you can do long range shots now with just your left click, whereas back in the day, when you're a Roadhog player and you come back to Roadhog now, the most shocking thing is when you try to do like a long range right click, it doesn't do anything and it starts drinking your take a breather. It's bad. Like, your muscle memory from Overwatch 1 and the start of Overwatch 2 is just gone crazy with this. So I don't trust myself in a real game yet. I've just been playing around in bots for like 5 minutes and it feels really clunky to get used to, but does it feel good overall? I would say yeah. I like the idea of trapping them and then shooting them because it felt like once you got hooked, you were just dead. Like, especially when Roadhog's been at his like most insane. Once he landed that hook, like, you were dead no matter what. So, I mean, it's still kind of the case, but it just feels less triggering, I guess you could say now, because there's more setup, there's more skill to it, and they seem to have gone the route of like bringing the player to your team to finish it as a team kill, rather than a Roadhog going off on a side mission and just slowly picking the team off every 6 seconds. Like, you can still play that way if you really want, but they're encouraging you to work a bit more with your team with this rework, I feel. So let's just give some tips and tricks for Roadhog, especially the rework. So I'll just go down his weapon first. So right click is gone. So your left click now fires like 4 meaty shots that are really accurate. So you can actually do long range consistent damage and it can headshot. So overall, I think his like distance for doing damage is like much more reliable and it's really strong at the minute. You can still one-shot people that are like point blank in front of you, and you can get a headshot with that. So your weapon doesn't feel nerfed. If anything, it feels more reliable, which is great. But that satisfying right click, man, like there's just something about the ability, the way it fires out like a meaty flat cannon thing and then blows up. Like, I really miss using that weapon, but the trade-off is good. Like, the left click is good, and I really like the range that comes with it. So before, you like killed anything within 5 meters of you. Now you can, like, if someone gets away and they're like 20 meters away, you can fire a really accurate shot and finish them off. So I like the consistency it's brought, but losing that right click is pretty devastating. It's such a satisfying ability. Anyway, moving on. So now it's replaced with Take a Breather, which in the past gave you what, 300 health, gave you some damage reduction, and it had a decent cooldown. Whereas now you can do some sort of like shield dancing thing. Like, it's kind of similar to like Diva Matrix or what's he called? The robot guy, the nano robot guy. I haven't played in a while, I forgot his name. Ramatra. He can like block, fight, block, fight, block, fight. You can also do the same now. So let's say, I don't know what the damage reduction is. I've not tested it out enough on Roadhog, but let's say a Diva throws a Diva bomb at you. Just before it blows up, you can activate Take a Breather. It'll heal you a little bit, and most importantly, it's going to reduce the amount of damage you take. So when you recognize these burst moments, like, oh, there's like 3 of them looking at me and that Hanzo's charging an arrow and everyone's pointing at me, I know I'm going to take a breather while the aim's on me, and hopefully I'll negate a lot of that damage. So rather than being able to do that once every like 6 seconds, you can now do that 3 times within 6 seconds, because you can do a little bit block, and you can sort of like dance in and out of like fighting and protecting yourself. So I really like how fluid he feels. Like, you've got more windows to like make space for your team and do what a tank is supposed to do. Like, the problem with Roadhog was he was always like kill or be killed, whereas other tanks are like, they make space, they're infinitely hard to kill, whereas Roadhog's like a big meat farm and he either killed you or you killed him. So they've like balanced it out. He feels more like a tank now. And then throw that in with his new trap, which, yeah, I like it. I like the range. So my main worry was they were going to add some like Junkrat thing where it was this little trap, but the way his hook works, like, I like that they've done like the big trap radius. So you can like, the hook has always been a bit glitchy, but you could like hook someone round a barrier and that would make someone like dodge your trap, but they've done these like really long range legs on the trap. So if your hook goes dodgy, it'll still activate the trap and trap them. So I think they've done a really good job with that. I was only playing it for literally 5 minutes in the practice range, but it seemed when I pulled a bot in to the trap, they'd sort of like jump in the air so you couldn't get an easy headshot. Or I don't know if that's consistent, but I'll have to play with it more. But when you do hook someone in, you get like a free shot anyway, but then if there's a trap there, like, you're basically guaranteed like a kill. So in the day, before you trap, like, you had to pray you landed your shot. Failing that, you had to pray your team backed you up. Whereas now, you can like preemptively put a trap down, which is great because it makes space. It's a deterrent, blah, blah, blah. But when you pull someone into that, then if you whiff or you have to reload or your team whiffs, they're stuck in a trap. So everyone else gets like a second chance of killing them. So really good. Makes him feel more tanky, more disrupty, like making space, protecting his team. I'm liking the changes. And then what else? We've got his hook, which is mostly the same. What I would say is it feels much easier to maneuver people now with the hook. So let's say this was a bad habit for me. Like, I always preferred just hooking the enemy in and then blasting them straight in the face. Whereas as Overwatch kind of developed, a lot of Roadhog players kind of changed to like repositioning rather than like just blasting them in the face. So instead of just pulling them to you and blasting them, a lot of Roadhogs would like turn to the left or turn to the right and try and drag the hook victim like as far as possible. Like, I always appreciated this, but I just didn't enjoy it. Like, I want to hook them, shoot them in the gob. Whereas when I was seeing this like new Roadhog playstyle where they're like, it's good for like dragging them off maps and things like that, but now his hook feels easier to do that. So I definitely encourage trying it out. Like, let's say you want to drag someone off the ledge, stand near a ledge or stand near 𝗙𝗍𝘆 well, hook someone and then just turn left or turn right and then drop them down the hole. It just feels so much easier now. It feels more forgiving. Like, it felt like in the past, they'd like just clip on everything and it just wouldn't work. And then you're stuck not aiming at them awkwardly. You've pulled them close to you and then they get away. Or it just felt a bit clunky in the past. Whereas now, like, it feels really consistent. Even if there's a barrier in the way, I feel like I can just drag them over the barrier and drop them off the map. It just feels much more reliable. So what else is there? The last thing is his ult. I'd say for the ult, don't forget that you can pop your other abilities while you're using his ultimate. So you can throw a trap down, you can use your hook. Like, don't forget you can use them. You're not like committed to 6 seconds of holding left click. Throw your trap down, take a breather, recognize when the burst moments are coming, try and mitigate them, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's the abilities. Well, I didn't think this video would turn out so long, but Roadhog I've always enjoyed, so I can just spit bars for days about him. So we've gone over the abilities, how to use this primary weapon. I could say that. I think I kind of discussed it at the start, but in the past where you had this like alternate left click and alternate right click, you've got more range to work with nowadays, so don't feel like you've got to go on your mad Roadhog missions. Like, your left click does insane damage from an insane distance, and it's like consistent for getting headshots. Like, you've got a really consistent spread pattern, and it doesn't, do you know what I mean? It's really accurate, so you can actually do a lot with that left click, and it does a lot of damage, and you can hit people in the head with it. So get good with a left click, get used to the it's like, how would I describe it? It's like a triangle with an extra bullet on top. Like, it fires in that spray pattern, it fires 4 meaty bolts, and then it fires a load of like spread damage around the outside. So definitely practice that because you can do some nutty long range snipes. You can harass Widowmaker. You can pick off enemies that have escaped. Like, he's much more reliable at finishing the job now. So, oh, if they're getting away anyway. In the past, you just pull them in and blast them in the face. Couldn't do out. Anyway, moving on. So, combining your abilities. Do I want to talk about that? So, with your trap, it takes like a second to activate. So, ideally, you want to like be thinking a couple of steps ahead. Like, where's the enemy going to be in a few seconds? Where can I throw this trap to either scare them away, give me space, or where can I hook them into this in a second? So throw it into a spot that either makes space, or I'm going to hook someone in a minute and then hook them in. Don't like hook them, look them in the face, and then throw a trap at the feet. It makes for some awkward gameplay moments. So it takes a second for the trap to activate. So don't do what I did. Team synergy. What can I say? Who's good with you? Ana dumpsters you because sleep is OP and anti-heal nade is OP. So whenever I play Roadhog, hopefully I've got a 𝗙𝗿𝗆𝗆 because she can cleanse the anti-heal. I'd say 𝗙𝗿𝗆𝗆 is the most important, and then other than that, just get good, kill whoever. Like, 𝗙𝗿𝗆𝗆 will be the biggest help, but any support will work. You've just got to work around your team. If you're duoing, who's a good combo with Roadhog, someone that can, like Genji would be good, because if he hooks someone in, if Roadhog hooks someone in and you finish them off, like all the Genji has to do is like dash through them and he's guaranteed a kill and he's guaranteed a reset and it's a kill confirm. Like, the biggest thing in Overwatch is getting that first pick. If you get that first pick, you snowball the fight and you win, providing everyone doesn't just hold W into a wall for 5 seconds. So yeah, moving on. Countering enemies, you'll be good against Monkey. I've always liked Roadhog into D.Va. I like just bullying her. Although it depends. Like, every tank battle is going to depend on who's better at the end of the day. Like, yeah, there are some counters, but you can always outplay each other. You can always get in each other's heads. And it depends on how good your team is, how good their team is. This is kind of switching into like a mentality thing, but don't get tilted. Don't rage at your teammates. Communicate if you can. Like, if you're on the mic spitting bars and you're being friendly, chances are you're going to do much better than the people that aren't communicating, that are sitting in silence. They die and then they get frustrated and they start typing in chat. Like, don't be one of those people. Just get on with the game. And then if you recognize people spiraling in your game, just give them a nudge. Like, just as without triggering them, just try and sort them out. But you can't sort everyone out. Some people are just unhinged, but it is what it is. Practice in training mode and game modes. Like, there's some, I use a training code where I'm in like a workshop room. There's like 10 bots that run around in like AD maneuvers. So you can like practice your hooks, you can practice your left clicks, like practice your mechanics in there. What else can I say? There was one more. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about like momentum with tanks. So your goal as a tank is either making space, disrupting, taking points, protecting your teammates, or getting picks. Like, you need to be the distraction. Like, get everyone to look at you because you've got the most health. You want to draw the aggro away from like the Genji or the Tracer who's trying to do some like ninja play in the background. You want to be enough of a nuisance to get that, to give that Genji some free room to go and slice everyone up. So when you're playing your tank, you need to like, you almost need to bait people, especially when you're playing Roadhog. Like, make yourself look like you're in a more precarious position than you actually are. Like, always have like a take a breather in the tank, or always be near a wall. This is the biggest thing. Like, one of the biggest noob mistakes I see with tanks, they fight out in the open too much, and then eventually they just take too much damage and die. Whenever I play a character, I mean, this is mostly a tank, but this applies to any character. You want to always be near like cover. So rather than standing out in the open, you want to have like one eye next to the wall and one eye peeking out of the wall. And as soon as you take damage, you just peek behind the wall, get healed up, and then you just keep peeking in and out, AD, in and out, AD, in and out, and just keep peeking. Don't stand in the open and don't stand still, and don't run in predictable, obvious straight lines. So always be like AD, unpredictable movement. Jumping can get you killed, so only jump when you need to, really. And peek in and out, and then take space. So as a tank, it's your job to like realize who's winning and who's not. So when you're winning, you need to push forward and seize your gaps. Like a lot of tanks will like just stand where they are. Like they won't recognize that you've actually got the advantage. You need to push through and get rid of them. So, but then you need to also recognize that actually they've got a lot of burst and I actually think we'll lose this fight. So you need to like maybe go backwards a bit, bait them out, get a pick, and then fully commit. Like, it's going to depend on your team. It's going to depend on a million different variables, but you need to be like spotting these moments where actually we've got the advantage. Let's push forward and win the team fight. A lot of tanks hesitate to just like get stuck in. So, but then on the back of that, some tanks will rush way too early and just get dinked in the head 3 times and die. So it's a balance, just like everything is in Overwatch. I've run out of things to say, I think. There's loads I want to say, but when you get like 15 minutes in, it kind of becomes a bit jumbled. I will make a proper like outline at some point, 10 years from now, but for now you just get these scuffed, me spitting into a mic guides. This is my longest one I've done, to be honest. I did the Overwatch 2 𝗙𝗲𝗲 guide when it came out. That was like my best ever video, so this is why I'm redoing this video to like try get my Overwatch content going again, because that was the most successful stuff I had when it came to earning revenue anyway. Like the Roadhog guide went decent, Hanzo. So I'm just gonna do one for every character, redo the hero guides for the ones that have been reworked, and then we'll do an ultimate guide, we'll do a settings guide, things like that. So leave a comment, what do you want to see? Love you all. 𝗙𝗿𝗆𝗲𝗏. Peace.